RB as well. Hot diggity dog. KD says Bluff City Cowboy. Who has the best season? Your starting running back or backup running back?
Oh, no question, it was Tony Pollard,
Mm.
and that's a question we got later in the show, but that's gonna be one of the differences in the game. Um, Pollard has been a career 5 yard a carry guy. I don't know why our team refuses to use him consistently. Even this year, when he got more runs, um, in the backfield, he still continued to have 5 yards a carry. He got 1,000 yards.
Mm.
Our starting running back didn't get 1,000 yards, and he also had 9 touchdowns along with a lot of receiving yards and catches. So great season by Tony Pollard. That's one of the things we're going to talk about this offseason. If we're going to keep him, how much it's going to cost, and what's going to happen with Zeke if we do.
Is Pollard a free agent,
Yes,
unrestricted or restricted?
unrestricted.
Mm. You gonna
Yep.
want that bag, man.
I know. And Zeke already got the bag, so we got a lot to talk about this offseason. A lot of
So
stories.
off the top of your head, I didn't ask you this before the show. What's Zeke's contract situation look like? Like we know he got, we know he got big money, a few seasons ago, and he hasn't really lived up to it. But he's got a lot of carries on his body at Ohio State with the Cowboys. He every year he's kind of his effectiveness has gone down. He's not the explosive running back he used to. But I wonder what's the Cowboys cap situation with Zeke. And if you guys cut him, do you owe him any money or what's the deal with that?
So the bad news is Zeke has a $16 million cap hit, and for a running back, that is ridiculously high, unless you're CMC or Derrick Henry.
Right.
The good news is this is the first year he has no guarantees. So at this point, we're gonna probably go in like we did with DeMarcus Lawrence this offseason and let him know, hey, big fella, we got some guys coming in. You see that we can replace you if we need to. Let's trim a couple million off of that base salary so that we can keep this team going. And don't make us answer the question on what'll happen if you say no. That's pretty much what we did with DeMarcus Lawrence this offseason. And he came in and signed on. He took a cheaper contract and extended for 3 more years. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for Zeke. But when he signed the contract, you remember the whole Cabo thing.
Oh, yeah.
With his money. So that's going to be one of those storylines to be aware of what happens with Zeke during the offseason because they're going to ask him for some money.
And do you think the team, if you were Jerry Jones, would you keep Pollard and sign him to a long-term extension?
Most definitely. You have to. I mean, the kid is only 25 years old. He's averaging 5 yards a carry. You hear all these misconceptions about can he handle a full workload? He's 215 pounds. I mean, him and CMC are pretty much the same size. So it's not like he's just a scat back. He can give you 15, 17 carries if he needs to. Yeah. And if you look around the NFL, outside of Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs, maybe Nick Chubb, nobody's carrying the ball 20 times anymore. Yeah. So people who say that still live in 1995 football. This is a new NFL. No running backs are getting full workloads anymore.
No, I agree. I mean, it just seems like the best thing to do is have, multiple backs that you can use, and paying backs big money. It's not really something that we usually see now. Obviously, CMC and Derrick Henry have been most recent. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Josh Jacobs. I mean, he had a hell of a year. I think he set the Raiders season record for most rushing yards in a season, I believe. And I think his 5th-year option was declined.
It was.
So it's going to be interesting.
He's a free
unrestricted. So that'll be very, very interesting.
The crazy thing about the Raiders is the Raiders are probably the cash poorest team in NFL. So you can play around with the salary cap as long as you got the money to put it on the front end and spread it on the back end. Right. The Raiders don't even have the money to put it on the front end. Yeah. So they don't even have enough to franchise tag them because I don't think they have $13 million they can put into a bank account to hold for them. That's going to be really interesting what happens.
Unless they, cut some players or ask some players to restructure. But that'll be interesting to see what they do and also what quarterback they bring in. But I got to say,